Hello everyone, Amity Sensei here. Today I'll be showing you how to use Procreate5X. The new version 5 has been released. A lot of new features have been added, so I'm going to go into detail about those here. The main change is that the function panel has been really updated. Until now, you can only change the colors for the entire screen, adjust specific colors, and mess around with them. But now you can use a new fine adjustment option to only change the parts you fill in, make them darker, lighter, etc. It's almost like Photoshop in this way, so I'm going to focus on this feature. The text tool was also changed too. The scribble feature was introduced for Photoshop and iOS 14, and it converts handwriting into text automatically. But now you can use it in Procreate as well. I will talk about that too. Finally, there's been a lot of little changes and updates, so we'll go over those as well. They pack a lot of features into this update, so be sure to watch this video until the end. I'll start with the adjustment panel. The button is the second from the left at the very top. Click it, and the adjustment panel shows up. There's quite a few options here. For example, if you press the first one, color, saturation, and brightness, these sliders will show up. And if you drag them left and right, you can change the saturation, the transparency, and the brightness of your photo. This hasn't changed from before, but now you can choose a specific area and change only that part. Press color, saturation, brightness like before, and this new option called pencil will show up. Press this. After that, with the brush option selected, you color in the parts you want to change. Here is these roses that I want to touch up. You can see that the colors are changing. Once you're done with coloring, you move these sliders. You can change the color of the area using the color slider, make it more monochrome or vivid using the saturation slider, and make it bright or dark using the brightness slider. They're all new features, but it's really the fine adjustment option that is the most important. You can also touch anywhere on the screen, and this preview button will show up. If you press and hold it, you can see how the part looked before and after the change. So you can switch back and forth and see how different it looks. And if you press the reset button below that, it all goes back to normal. Let's try some other options. There's a blur effect here as well. Before, you could drag right or left across the screen and make your picture more or less blurry, but now we have a pencil option for this. If you press it, you can fill in the area you want to blur. If you wanted to keep the roses clear and blur everything else, for example, you can just draw on those areas with the Apple Pencil. You can drag left and right to decide how blurry you want those parts to be. We have a lot of other things to play with here, like noise and sharpness, and they all let you choose between the entire layer and specific areas with the pencil. If you have Procreate 5, be sure to give this a try. A little more about the adjustment panel. There are other additions besides the fine adjustment option. For example, this gradation map is a new feature. It lets you add new color gradation filters on top of your existing image. There's a lot of different ones available, and just changing between them changes the entire feel of the image. A lot of Photoshop users are probably familiar with this. You can also make your own gradation map. There is a new filter option, and when you press it, you can add a number of gradation points, both simple to color stuff like red to blue or white to black, as well as more complicated original styles. Lots of other effects were added to the panel as well, like this halftone one. Press it and slide your pencil on the screen, and it will add dots to your picture. When I want to get a manga-like aesthetic, I use this. It's very easy. With the tabs at the bottom, you can also choose between newspaper and screen print, and these change the dots details, leading to different styles. We also have the pencil option here too, which is also known as fine adjustment. It lets you choose specific areas to change. This means we can add the dot effect only to this building here, for example. Next up is an effect called glitch. When you slide across the screen, the image becomes rougher, like when a video file doesn't display properly and there's white noise. Very simple to use. I'm still not quite sure when you use an effect like this, but if you're interested, please go ahead and try. At the bottom, we have a bunch of different types of glitch effects, and just playing around with them is really fun, so see what you can do here. Another new effect is called bloom. This lets you add a bright light effect like things in the picture are shining. This makes the bright parts of the image in particular look like they're really lighting up. I think there's a lot of ways to use this. This is an image I drew before. Just by using bloom, the entire picture gets a lot brighter. With the wings here, we can use pencil mode and fill them in, making them brighter but leaving the rest as is. It's a small change, but making the wings shine like this really changed the mood of the image, so use it with that in mind. Then we have achromatism. This is when the light passing through the lens doesn't focus, and the picture looks a bit blurry as a result. This makes the picture look blurry, but also gives it a 3D sort of look. This black circle is the focal point, and you can move it around to change where the effect is coming from. If you pick the Shift tab below, you can move the effect around yourself to make the image look more funky. It almost makes you sick. Finding a time to use this might be tricky, but if any of you come up with a good idea, I'd love to know about it, so leave me a comment down below. Next is the text function. You can access by pressing the button on the top left and then pressing the Add Text option. Then the word text will show up on the screen. As for the new features, we have the scribble function added in iOS 14. You can write on the screen and it will automatically be converted into text. For example, I can write A and just like that it turns to text. Now you don't have to type everything. You can just write things by hand, which makes things so much easier. If you bring up the keyboard, it covers a lot of things and it's hard to type on, so this is much simpler. When you want to select text with Scribble, just draw a line through the text and you can select it. To erase it, you can just scratch it out like this. Scribble isn't just used for text either. You can also use it to easily change the names of your layers. Usually this is pretty annoying, right? If you've used Procreate before, you know what I mean. Bringing up the layer panel and then type in is such a chore. But now you can do this with the Apple Pencil, which is a pretty nice feature. The color palette has also been updated, so I'll talk about that as well. The color palette is this set of colors that comes up at the bottom here. This function actually extracts the colors from the image itself. If you press the plus button on the top right, you go into camera mode. From the camera itself, you can pick up around 30 different colors. This lets you pick out nice colors to use. Here we can point out the green of the flowers and the white desk, find a part with a really nice color scheme, and then take a picture. This becomes our color palette. Isn't that amazing? If you have a favorite magazine, you can use that, or you can use your pictures from your camera roll. So when you open up the color palette, you can use the extracted colors to draw things with complementary colors. I really want you all to try this out. The last new function is the reference button in the action panel. This displays a pop-up of your picture at the edge of the screen for you. You can have the full image here in this pop-up, and then zoom in really close to draw, for example. You can also extract colors from the pop-up as well. If you press and hold, the color wheel will appear, and you can extract the colors from a specific spot and use it to color the seas. Seeing the entire picture while you're drawing is pretty important. If you focus too much on one spot, you'll spend all your time working on it, and then the balance of the entire picture will be off. This lets you avoid that though, which I think is pretty cool. In this reference pop-up, you also have the Image and Face tabs. The Image tab lets you display your favorite images from your camera roll. You can look at a picture of the real thing while drawing, so it's really useful. Lots of people have been using slide over or split screen to do this until now, but with this pop-up feature, you can move the picture around while working on your drawing, which is really convenient. As for the Face tab, it's kinda strange. It turns on your selfie camera and lets you display your picture. This strawberry picture here on your face, like this. Look at this. This is super gross. And if you try to block the lens, your face will pop out. I can have this strawberry picture and the black background pasted on my face, with the chocolate dripping out of my nose, and make it look like I'm lapping it up. Super gross, right? It looks so ugly. Probably the people at Procreate were just having some fun. You can also do something like this. If you have kids, this might be entertaining. Putting your drawings on your face, they might find that kind of funny. I tried it with this jellyfish drawing. You can see my face pretty clearly. It might be best using a black background. Lots of interesting functions have been added this time around, so give it a try and have some fun. Depending on what you come up with, you can do some pretty cool things. And that's it for today. How was it? The last face feature is a bit weird. I don't really know how you would use it, but it might be good for a laugh. And if you draw a super good picture, paste it on your face, and post that on social media like Twitter or Instagram, you might get a lot of likes. So if you got it in you, try that out. Being able to adjust parts of the image makes things so much easier. Before I had to use masks all the time, but now I don't need to, which is great. There are more features I didn't look at today, but I'll be taking those one at a time in future tutorials, so look forward to that. Procreate is pretty great, right? It has so many features. There are lots of picture editing apps on iPad, but honestly, I think Procreate is the best right now. I think of it as kind of like the champion of picture editing. And if you never downloaded Procreate or used it before, I have a playlist of all of my videos on Procreate, and if you go through it from the end to the beginning, you'll be a Procreate Pro in no time. So please go take a look when you have time. Alright, if you find this video useful, please hit the like button, and if there is anything you want me to cover in your tutorial, let me know in the comments down below, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Thank you for watching my video. Bye bye.